Hi, and welcome to the Voice of Bold Business Radio. I am your host, Jessica Dewell of Red Direction. You are listening to The Skill of Certainty.
Welcome to the Voice of Bold Business, the show that provides everything smart leaders need to evaluate situations, build relationships, and create solutions. Jessica Dewell candidly talks about the skills necessary to build tenacity and do more with less. And now, here's Jessica.
Today, Carl Ramallo is with us, and I have to tell you, he's somebody that I've known for a while, and I know what he talks about, and we've never had a conversation. So I invited him to come on the show to talk about something that was near and dear to my heart, which is this concept of certainty. And while we didn't talk directly about control, everything in this conversation talks about what we can control. So if it's really not in this conversation, it's out of our control, and we must limit what we think about and how we think about those things. So take a listen in, because Carl Ramallo is a former marketing specialist for Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, and others. And now he works with people on personal development at attractionmarketingbiz.com.
So it needs to come from somewhere, and we as coaches help guide them. Thank God that people like Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn existed. When I got out of school, and the correlation for me in my mind was, I remember once I was taking a design class, and a teacher said, I want you to go buy and told the whole class, he goes, I want you to buy a book called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand.
Oh, okay. I love that book. Oh,
great book. Well, here's the thing. Even though it's a fictitious book, it's a killer book. I'm going to touch on that a little more. But here's the thing. He was like the top professor in the class that I was in the design portion of the school, and I was fortunate to get into his class. I said, what does that have to do with architecture? Learning design, the skills. And he looked at me and he said, when you get the book and you read it, you'll find out. I said, okay. So you reap, so you take action, so you sow. You got to plant the seeds. So again, I tell you, determine the thoughts and the actions that are most likely going to result in the experiences that you want to see. If you want to have that great vacation, you're going to write down everything. I need to book this certain hotel. I need to have this room facing the water. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do the other thing. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you define those same type of strategies and tactics necessary to impress the right thoughts in your mind, to take the right actions towards your personal life, your personal development, your personal growth? Get into action. And remember, look, Jesus left the roadmap for us. Mother Teresa left the roadmap. Rand McNally Maps. He definitely left the roadmap for all of us. But you still have to you know what? You still have to travel that road yourself.
Right.
You always got to do more than you think that you're capable of. Stretch yourself. You're never going to wear down a great idea that's going to change your life. And that comes in the belief that you have in yourself. You ask for wisdom. You create some answers for yourself, and you increase the faith in the goals that you have to live life to the fullest.
If we're not happy at home, if we're not sleeping, if we're stressed, if we're wondering how we're going to pay our bills, all of that comes with us. And we look through that lens when we're looking at our business as well. One of the things that I always talk about is choice. It starts with a choice. And you actually said it earlier in a totally different way when you were talking about action. The concept of recognizing there's stuff we don't need to be doing that we're doing. And there's stuff we're hearing that we don't need to be hearing. And if we're feeling different, maybe that's our tug. That's what's moving us towards making a choice. What would you recommend as like steps to go, I'm being faced with it. I'm gearing up to have the courage. All I have to do is make a choice. Well, that sounds easy. It sounds totally easy, but what does that actually entail to choose?
Corporate people, there's always certain rules and guidelines and procedures that you have to follow. But what I want to focus is that companies aren't great. The people within the companies is what it's built upon. It's the lifeblood of the business. It's what makes the company. So if the people aren't personally, mentally ready to do anything in their personal life and transform it into what they do in their professional life, if you will, if they have a job or what have you, then it's never going to change. If you want to climb to the top of the ladder, it's never going to happen while you're leaning against the wall and you have your hands in your pockets. So the dynamics of what is necessary for a person to succeed, it's already inside of you, but you need to take a peek inside of you. You look through that lens like you're talking about. And what Tony Robbins used to talk about is getting a strategy. Take action, begin to create the meaning that you associate with what you do now, because you don't want to compromise yourself and limit your choices, because you're never going to reveal the person that you wish to transform to be. And that's what you're doing as a human being. You're transforming all the time. Like the human earth of ours that we live in, it's the evolution of you. So you got to put the future in good hands. And I always tell people, those hands are your own. Besides, you're never going to rise to a low expectation. If you want half the results, then don't take half the actions for it. Unless you're satisfied with that. Get into the habit of combining faith and action, and it's going to help supercharge your life. Because really the power of your thoughts is the only thing that you have 100% control of.
Right.
So you got to make sure whatever you learn that's of value, that you transform and put it into action.
One of my teachers, if you will, is Donnie Epstein. And Donnie Epstein and Tony Robbins know each other. So they run in similar circles. And I listen and go to programs with Donnie Epstein. And he talks about 3 ways that basically we approach our world. One is to actually just start doing, which is what I do and what I hear you talking about. And so it resonates really well with me. It's just like, if my goal is to have a new client by the end of this week, I'm going to wake up this morning, and what's the thing that I need to do right now that is calling to me to help me get that client by the end of this week? So if I'm sitting in a sales office, I'm working on my numbers or whatever it is, I can pick up the phone, I can send an email, I can do some research. There's another aspect of that of structure. To get a new client, I need to talk to this many people. I need to make sure I do enough research to understand what they do and what their problems are and how I can solve, right? They're creating the framework of which to have the conversation to then go make calls. And the third way is this picture, and I'm trying to figure out how to put this in here, this concept of perception. All of these, by the way, are inside everything you're talking about. So I'm pointing them out this way because if somebody goes, well, I'm stuck on the action and I don't want to take the action, let's start this other way. And this third way is actually visualizing myself as the salesperson, right? Here I am, the salesperson. I've done all that other stuff. And now I've got the client and we're having this onboarding meeting. We're figuring out who the team is going to be for implementation. And then I can work backwards. Who do I need on the team? What are the things that need to be done? How do I do these different things? Oh, they already know their problems. I can bring all that in to create the structure and figure out what action to start with.
I totally agree. It's very well said. In business and in personal life, you need to have the strategy. Yes. You could talk about the things that you said, do the emails, make the phone call. Eventually, a certain amount of calls with that person is going to lead to a sale, that sort of a thing. Those are like the data that's given for 7 conversations before the sale is made and that sort of a thing. But there is a different type of thing where also you could put yourself in, all right, when I talk to a person, or when I'm developing a strategy, think about the other person. Like, what is it that they're looking for? Think about them. In their mind, they're thinking, all right, you're just another salesperson looking to make a buck. What type of value could you bring to me? And really, the thing that really stuck out to me is that Tony always talked about, and a lot of other people, the emotional certainty that's built upon your mind. When you talk to these people, you don't want to take any shortcuts into what's producing your actions. So what you focus on is what you're going to feel, and that's going to catapult your daily actions regardless. If you're going to make a profound change in your business life, and that's that process, what's the primary reasons of you doing what you're doing? Are you empowering your primary focus? Has that reason become your primary focus, and how is that changing the situation? Is it making it better? Is it going to give that situation a meaning that you've been looking for, a meaning that they've been looking for? So you got to get in love with the idea of contributing to that situation, benefiting others and helping others. You help other people get what they want, you got to get what you want. You want to strive to have that breakthrough and that commitment. So how you going to mold that contribution that you're willing to give to that company, to that individual that they're going to receive? You know, what is it that you're going to give a tremendous fulfillment for yourself, for them? What fulfillment are they going to get? Go back to what we said earlier, 80% of your success is going to be due to your psychology. So we have to develop the skills to get to the particulars of your targeted goals.
All right, I'm going to take a quick station break. You are listening to the voice of Bold Business Radio, where I am speaking with Carl Ramallo today, and we are talking about the skill of certainty. If I am thinking about this, and it's so funny because places along my personal development in life and in work, you're talking about all these things, and I'm just in this place where I'm accepting what you're saying, and I can see my past selves actually being triggered by some of the things that you're saying. And I'm like, Yes, boy, I wish I would have had this particular nugget then to trigger me just in this way, so I would do it different and my path would have been a little easier. But like you said, we all have to travel that path and we all have to get through those things on our own. When we're talking about psychology skills, you had talked about faith and you had talked about mindset and you've talked about action. What do you think is like the place to start?
Your life is basically a collection of experiences, so you need to make sure at all times that you try to live it to the fullest. Look, there's some people that die at 75, 80 years of age, but they stopped living it when they were 25 or 26. So you got to control how you run the day, or it's going to basically run you. You got to be in charge of yourself, your time, your skills, and you got to take the time to set short and long-term goals and keep adjusting them as you move forward. They're going to inspire you as you become more certain, as you become more confident in what you're doing. It's going to become a part of your heart and your soul. Believe me, it's going to be a worthwhile time in your journey. Live beyond what you're capable of, because the pain of losing, that joy of winning, is what it's all about. When you master the balance of having that winning edge in your life, developing that psychological skill, because people who fail to plan are planning to fail. Benjamin Franklin said that eons ago. So pursue the things in your daily life that you cannot stop thinking about. If you want a better job, if you want, whether it's money, little by little, begin and start psychologically living that life that you've hoped for. Keep your fingers crossed won't work. Change your strategy, and it will change the outcome. If it's easy to do something, it's also easy not to do it. The choice is up to you. You can't neglect doing more because it may scare you. People are scared. They have a lot of fear. They have battles, struggles that they're fighting for their dreams. And they become defeated even before they know what they're fighting for, right?
Yeah.
So everything that you want is within your grasp. It's already inside of you. You just need to take action and move forward. And you never stop learning. You always have to build up your mind. Your subconscious mind, I talk about it all the time. It's more important than what people realize. It's probably one of the things that's going to give you a tremendous fulfillment as far as you gaining more congruity, if you will, in every situation in your life, having that absolute certainty. Because when you build up that confidence level, any discipline that you put yourself towards, whatever it is, it's going to make sure you rise above the petty things and not throw you off the course that you're headed on, that you should be on.
Let's talk about goal setting. Do you subscribe or ascribe to a particular philosophy of goal setting?
Not particularly a certain one, because it's all based on you and what type of life that you want to live, your belief system. I always ask people, what was the last book that you read? The reason why I go back to that is everybody has a different belief system. Everybody's going to build a mindset based on what they feel is important to them. The goals and the strategies, there's many different ones, but what works for you might not work for somebody else. So I tell people, take the time every week to reflect on what you learned and work out a plan that you're going to use to learn on an ongoing basis so you can apply it in your life. Self-suggestion is very powerful as well. It could bring success to things all around you. It works silently, but it's also wandering if you listen to it. So I suggest people listen and go there on a regular basis, because the experiences that you soak up in the world and how you deal with them and your perception and the meanings that you give to it, but a little lessons that's going to make a tremendous impact in your life. But you have to have the right mental attitude to acquire certain skills to take you to the next level, to set the disciplines. Don't let up. Build your mind like you build a muscle. I worked out, they wanted to get in better shape, and they're going, yeah, I worked out for a couple of months, wasn't doing anything for me. I'm like, well, why did you give up so quickly? And I'm going, did you go to school? Did you go to college? Yeah, I did. What type of degree you got? I got a bachelor's. So was that 4 or 5 years? Yeah. Why didn't you quit? All right, well, working out's the same way. All disciplines are going to affect each other. So you don't ever want to let it erode to your best philosophy on what you believe in. And I have a saying which is like, never give yourself an excuse to fail instead of celebrating a successful life. In order to change that life mentally for yourself, make those changes from within.
There's something to what you're saying, that feeling. Our cells never forget. They always remember. What's in our heart always remembers. Even though our entire body changes, something like what? It's every 3, 5, or 7 years. Yet we still have an autopilot system that will just do things. Every once in a while, we'll be like, why am I doing this? Oh, something in my subconscious was triggered and I'm going down this old path. Isn't it also a challenge? Those things we take for granted that we do on autopilot, that we've done for so long, that get in the way of building this discipline muscle?
Most people consciously rarely know, Jessica, what they want in life. Really, they got to commit to themselves and make the changes mentally. That's going to make the changes needed to get to where they want to be. And by that, you take that course of action. Talk about going way back. You think of a baby taking those first little baby steps. Little by little, it makes progress. Now think about yourself making progress, and you're going to be happier for doing so. You're going to have a desire in your heart and your mind that's going to be here and say to you, hey, I want to hear more of this story. Where are we going with this? However, so you know what that is. You know, you're looking to be a service, for whether it's yourself, for your other people that you encounter, that you deal with, for yourself. You want to make them a better person. You want to be an amazing leader, not only in your personal life, but in their lives. Share your experiences with them. Meet any expectations in your life that you're happy with and that you're better because you've exceeded them. Focus on the areas that you're happy on in your life presently, because that's all we have. The past is gone. You don't want to have that rearview mirror mentality. So I ask people, what one area would you like to improve on in your life and why? Forget about what happened in the past. It's over. It's done. There's traits in your life that you need to cultivate. And I'm always here to tell them, going, you could do it. It's not for the other guy. If you think the other guy's got more money than you, more skills, baloney. You could develop the same traits. It's going to require a lot of self-discipline, but you're worth it. If you don't know what inspires you, Jessica, you're never going to know what satisfies your soul.
People who are stuck in their jobs, or they don't like where they're going, or they keep switching jobs, and the drama that they left shows up in their new place. Well, that's kind of a clue that it's you and not them, and me and not them, right? And,
There's a mental survival system that they have to master.
Right. So that simple act of reflecting once a week, and I say it's simple to say, and it is hard to do, even for 5 minutes, to look back and go, here are all the whatever happened this week. This is what I learned. This is what was great. This is what made me feel good. This is what made me feel not so good. And if that was the only objective, to do that for 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, there's going to be some patterns that emerge that then we can grab onto. And it's practicing a new habit. It's practicing doing something we've not done before, to see things we've not seen before, to make different choices, to change what we see as we reflect.
No doubt. And words, you mentioned in the beginning of the video, the words, the action words that I use, they're such because I chose them to be part of my life. I wanted to make sure that I empower myself and anybody I talk to daily with clear, positive motives in your subconscious mind, because you're conditioning your brain. Your brain is a radio station of positive mental vibrations, and your mental and emotional intensity is going to help create a compelling vision, one that's going to keep you excited every day, one that's going to make you drive to go to the next level. As you build that excitement, you build the certainty, you build that trust, that things that you cannot stop thinking about, and remind yourself that you're not just existing to be average. You're here to stand out above everything and everyone that you come across. So you got to create an identity for yourself, not mentally only, but personally in your personal development, your guiding system that's going to transform with you daily, weekly, monthly. Those rituals are going to build on your beliefs.
I already subscribe to everything that you're saying. So I feel like anybody who's listening to us is going to be like, man, aren't you guys just the choir? And in a sense we are. Yet at the same point in time, we also are true believers in the fact that, I'll speak for me. Carl, I'm not sure about you, but I'll speak for me. I used to not think this way. I used to not take time.
Yeah, I could understand. Yeah.
Not know. You mentioned school, and a person you might have asked once or twice about, well, didn't you finish college and what made you not quit? And I'm thinking, well, there was a known end. Okay, so when we take control of our action today, but we don't understand or have some known end, which I think is probably a big obstacle. And one of the things you're talking about is creating a vision. If you could talk a little bit about that, tying the actions I'm taking today to not some unknown place, but this known place that we see ourselves in, just like we saw ourselves completing college.
As you go on, there's many things in life that you have to do, Jessica, but there's also many things that you choose to do. It's that thought process, create that visualization for yourselves, is that you got to write down the steps that you're willing to take and visualize what you want. What's your timetable for taking the action? Why do you want to do it? Prioritize those. But visually, pictures are very important in your mind. It's necessary to have that evidence for yourself, because once your mind accepts that idea, that conditioning for yourself, you're going to succeed because you're determined. It's going to accept that thought process, that picture, and manifest it into your physical reality. But you have to attach a lot of emotion to it. People learn to live your dreams instead of living in your fears, because after all, we might sound like we're preaching to the choir if you have, but you got to execute a plan for yourself. You got to experience fear and have the courage in your mind that an obstacle is just a stepping stone. Any activity that you get engaged in on a daily basis is going to build up that self-esteem and eventually assist you in having the goals from a visual standpoint, from any standpoint. Write down your goals. What are your intentions? And develop any positive and conscious desires and eliminate your unconscious fears, because people's actions are generally more often motivated by self-thought and self-interest. So I ask people, what drives you? What motivates you? Where's your confidence level at? Your self-esteem is really an awesome step of watching your progress towards your success. So your daily disciplines are going to help build on that self-esteem and lead it to another, so you can build on it, nourish it, and the results are going to come. How do you measure yourself at the end of each day? Give it some thoughts. Do you have the confidence to go on with that day, or did it just run you? You're going to find yourself in time that many areas in your life could change in a moment just from readjusting your outlook, the possibilities of every situation. So mentally, it's how you see it, how you attach meanings to everything that you come on board with. The technical aspect of taking visualization, impregnating pictures in your mind and having them manifest, that's a little something more of what the law of attraction is all about and everything like that. And we can't do it in a session that we're in right now talking about. It's something that we need to spend a little more time internally. The internal drive is going to be replaced by external motivation. We need to pay attention and set out your to-do list. Your motivation, is it enough for you to create enough reasons for you to act? Your expectations are going to dictate your performance. And it's so much more involved. And really, that's why the coaching sessions, one-on-one, is where we get into the nitty-gritty. I need to talk to you, the person. Tell me about what you've done. Tell me about what your belief system is. Why you're there. Why are you thinking the way you're doing? Why are you applying those skills in your life and getting the results that you like, don't like, not happy with? If you break down the elements of your performance rather than focusing on the end result, then you're going to be able to control your actions more effectively.
I love that we are talking about control now, because something that you said is things that I have to do, things that I choose to do. When I think about the have-tos, I'm thinking about the choices that I've made. I've decided where I'm going to live, so I know how much it's going to cost for me to pay my mortgage or my rent. I've decided what I'm going to eat and where I'm going to eat, so I have some concept of what that costs. And I'm bringing it back to money because, well, almost everything in our life is driven by money or requires money in some way, directly or indirectly. And so this is more of an example than anything else to bring this point home of this have to. We could even do other things. I chose to receive somebody else's kids into my life. I became a godparent, and in doing so,
congratulations.
Well, thank you. And, you know, and that's one of those things where I'm just thinking all those choices that we make in life, it gives us obligations. I use the word obligation, even though I choose them, I still consider their obligations, because once I make the choice, there's a lasting requirement of me, a lasting commitment of me that I don't want to let people down. And that's me personally, but maybe other people are not. Oh, sure, I can be that in title only. Oh, sure, I can do this because you asked me and you sound like you're in a pinch and I can do this in a one-off thing. I think that goes back to understanding what our commitment is and what we're willing to do and how we show up and who we are and what's driving us to be able to make the best choices.
No doubt about it. And when you talk about money, people, what they've been taught and conditioned in life is that you got to go to school, you got to earn a degree, and then you got to go out and get a job. Well, what happens is that concept is that everybody follows most people. That's why Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, it's 3% of society is employing the other 97%. And it's because that 3% has a different mindset about money. Money is something that's got to be attracted. It's usually attracted in your life. It's not pursued. You're trading hours for dollars. You're an accountant. You get paid $16.50 an hour. Okay, great. When we do what we're meant to do, money comes to you freely. New doors open to us. That's why formal education, like Jim Rohn said, is going to make you a living. Self-education is going to make you a fortune. Our minds become magnetized with the dominating thoughts that you're holding. And those magnets attract everything that you desire. visualizing and attracting money in all control. It comes from your mind. So again, it's how you look at it. It's your perception of things. Are you open to receive the abundance that the universe has for you in regards to money? Because people are going, well, I got a job, but it's not enough. It's like, I wanted a bigger house, so I wanted a better car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we live in a world of motion where your brain doesn't even think. However, you think with your brain. So the main difference is that, like all things, it's got to be activated. And a lot of people don't bother taking action in doing that. So you got to make it a focus and harmonious with the vibration that you have on a daily basis on what you put out there in the universe and what's going to be attracted back to you. It's the essence of your being. It's your awareness that you have towards money. Visualize what you will in a manner that you're accepting the fact and that you need to have a purpose to execute your vision. You got to get an edge to get that breakthrough. That moment of your thought is never going to achieve itself if the goal is not going to become a reality based on your vision. Don't be general. You have to be specific, and that's what people don't do. They are not specific. They don't get specific with what they want in their life. They want filet mignon, but they don't need it. They could have a salad with grilled chicken, and they're fine. Develop that sense, that perception within yourself, empowering your thoughts. Use your imagination and be in touch with the universe. Measure the ideas that you have and that you've had in the past, but allow yourself to go, I'm worthy of a bigger house. I'm worthy of a better car. And claim ownership in the vibration and attach tremendous emotion to it. That's going to allow the results flow to you. If you take action and you pack it with passion, you're going to carve out the proper vibration to claim the ultimate reward. Mm-hmm. As I speak to you now, I'm standing on my feet and I'm pumped up because my physiology tells me to do so. I'm in that state like Tony Robbins talks to. And most people sit around, you know, with their heads on their hands and they're yawning and they're going, I need another macchiato, Dunkin' Donuts coffee, whatever it is to get them going. They have nothing that drives them. It's like to empower yourself, have the courage. And there's a little frame that I have next to me by my copier. It says, if it's got to be, it's up to me. Your inner being is going to tell you so. You're going to discover more of who you are on the path other than that, what's blocking you towards your goal. If you're having any mental block, focus on what you don't want. Mm-hmm. Ignore the mistakes. Okay, we're all going to have them. We fail our way to success. However, mistakes do not make you as a person. Don't dwell on it. Right. Don't look for closure. Don't feed the fire and throw more kindling in it and giving you more attention. Day to day, your life is going to unfold. But there's a developing skill that you need to manifest itself, and you need to align yourself with that mental attitude towards that, towards your goals. And if you could apply it every day and have it worthy and to be the creator of your own reality, why wouldn't you?
Exactly. And I want to take this back to the thing you were talking about, confidence. The more we do things, the more confident we become. Just because I might have high self-esteem and high confidence doesn't mean I have high self-esteem and high confidence in every area of my life. And that's something I want everybody who's listening to hear too. You may be very confident. You may be the best salesperson out there. You may be the best at what you do. You may run races like crazy. You may be the best parent, whatever it is. We'll go back to the money thing because you shared some great insights on money there, Carl. Maybe we're lacking confidence in that area of our life. We're lacking that confidence in our nutrition or the way that we look or some of these other things. And this is where we have a scale of confidence in each of these areas of our lives. Let's use the confidence we have in the one area where we have it and bring it to the other where we have a little less so that there's no room for, or maybe not no room, but less room for doubt.
Whether it's money or anything else in life, I think people need to understand that it takes roughly 30 to 40 days, roughly in that area, to impress upon your unconscious mind that you can have everything that you desire and dream, but you have to have affirmations. You got to apply them daily. Mm-hmm. Okay, circumstances that we hear about money when we're young, we simply have a negative mindset that things like money does not grow on trees. Wait a minute, they don't make paper on trees, right? I mean, the last time I checked. So if you want to have more money, then you should focus your mind on positive quotes on prosperity, on money, on wealth. What is your relationship with money in this particular thing? So to set a money goal, you got to be very precise about how much money you want to bring into your life. Mm-hmm. So people are going, well, I want to make $1 million. Okay, no, that's general. Your brain is not going to work on that. A written money and income goal should be something like this. My goal is to earn a minimum of, let's say, $100,000 yearly by, and then you got to write down the date. And most people won't even bother to do it. Money affirmations do eventually work, but they take a lot of continual effort to get them past your conscious mind that resisted. So don't give up. It's not an option. It's not like a New Year's resolution. I tried it for a few months. It didn't work. You have to keep on going. You got to keep on moving. You got to believe that you could do it. You got to have that commitment towards yourself. You're never going to be able to see truly how powerful you are if you don't take charge. You got to have the courage to do it and become more aligned with who you are and make some great accomplishments for yourself along the way, because that emotional state you're going to be in, if not, you're going to be conducting a lot of strategies that are going to conflict with you. So take charge of the pictures that are in your mind. Get conscious control of who you are and what you're about to do.
I have a friend, her name is Jane Sanders. In her work, there's a master path and a student path. And so something I've heard you say, and I'm going to just put it into a different frame for the moment, and that is everything that you've been saying is we might see a lot of success. We might be doing really well, and then all of a sudden life happens, stuff gets in the way, old habits crop up, we feel like we're failing, so we give in. It's not that the game is over and we don't have to start over. It just happens that we switched paths. We're now on the student path, and there's still some stuff to work on with our conscious and unconscious mind around our mindset in this area that allowed those things to not only open the door, but kind of like a vampire, we apparently invited them in. And that's a bad idea.
It's the same way that a computer file or file cabinet works. You got files where you put in it and you close that file, and that's what you go, garbage in, garbage out. Mm-hmm. You're consciously controlling the pictures that are in your mind. I'm going to tell you there's two sides of an emotional side and a rational side. The rational side with you, Jessica, or the conscious side, whichever you want to refer it to, is going to analyze and look into your future dealings. So if any change for you to be effective, you've got to appeal to both sides due to the fact that whatever you believe in with great conviction is going to become your reality. And if you could focus on that one thing mentally and have a clear vision and a clear fashion of what you want, and forget about the things that you don't want, and know exactly and be ready to receive it, those goals are going to be attracted to you. That's what people are missing. The power of the belief system that you have is in direct proportion of your personal beliefs that are going to shape your life. And whether you have a good day or a bad day, we're all going to have them. You know how powerful this is and how it changed my life and how it could change the lifestyle of the people. Once you apply it, you're going to be a lot happier. And that's really, truly the little things that I try to pass on to people. The benefits of so. It's a blessing in your life. Have the gratitude. Having tremendous amount of gratitude and being thankful allows the receiving process to begin. And there's so many little words, these action words, these triggers that mentally shape and evolve our lives. But the problem is there's nobody there to teach it to them. They're too busy listening to the radio and talking about what's going on in Syria or whatever, and how the stock market is doing. And you never hear a newscaster come on and go, got a great new book coming out there today from ABC Motivational Inspirational Speaker, blah, blah, blah. Talk about that and taking some phone calls with people. Why? Why? The message is often lost because we don't give it the courtesy of our proper attention. And with the power of repetition, which often surprises me, why, when we stop learning, you stop growing. And that's not a good thing. You got to continue to make personal development a priority in your life. There's no better investment than yourself. Wouldn't you agree?
I completely agree, Carl. I'm going to repeat something because I want to make sure I heard you correctly. You were saying, whether we're talking conscious or unconscious or rational and emotional as the flip sides, everybody has to be invited to the party to move us toward our success.
No doubt. Every effort you've worked on is going to predict any future effort on your behalf. So approximately 3/4 of your daily activities are going to be governed by your subconscious, and every idea in your mind is going to control every function of your body, since it's that vivid imagination that sets the motion, the function towards your goals. So define what you want, have faith in it. Those positive thoughts are going to get reinforced by positive action. Take the tactics necessary to impress the right thoughts and take action. The only real antidote to doubt and worry and fear and all the negative emotions that people have in their life is that they sabotage their own self-confidence in action, because the conscious mind can only hold one thought at a time, positive or negative. So as you're shaping your life, you're shaping yourself. You want to reach the highest level of success that's zealously guarded by your consciousness. Give life the meaning that you want it to, something that's going to determine and shape your life, and focus on what's not guiding you so much of what's in your past, but having that sense of purpose, and let it empower you and let it drive you regardless in an empowering way, in a positive way, and transform the personal purpose into long, short-term actions, and you're going to become effortless in achieving your goals.
I tell you what, Carl Ramallo, he is pretty amazing, is he not? And we talked about things, we started with mediocrity, and then we talked about our conditioning, and then we were talking a lot about choice. And in fact, directly and indirectly, we were talking about choice the whole way through. What can we control? It's what we choose. And even when the outcomes are something we don't like, that's okay. Notice, make a different choice, right? Seems easy. The thing is, the other thing you heard through this entire program was time. Give it time. It's a muscle. It's a reflex. It's a skill. And it took us, however old we are, I'll use me. I'm 39 years old. It took me 39 years old to be exactly who I am today. Some of those habits, some of those thoughts, some of those subconscious things have been around for 39 years. They're not going to disappear in 2 months or 6 months. And if I'm really lucky, they'll start to be affected in a year of conscious, continuous effort. I think continuousness, the continuity of things and our practices are really what carry us through. And now that I'm at the end of this, I can't ask Carl about it, but maybe he'll come back and join us another time and we'll talk about something like that, plus his golf game. Anyway, in the end, we're talking about certainty. And you can find all the program notes at voiceofboldbusiness.com/P68. That is voiceofboldbusiness.com, P for program, 68. You can also search the skill of certainty. Make sure to subscribe and rate Voice of Bold Business Radio on your preferred listening platform, which, by the way, now includes iHeartRadio, in addition to Google Play, and you can get a direct RSS feed, Stitcher, and Libsyn. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. You are a leader today. You are in a specific role. You are the leader of your life. And it's your story and experiences that shape what we do as leaders in our business roles and in our lives. So I want to know from you, what are you going to do to start prioritizing and developing your skill of certainty?
Subscribe at thevoiceofboldbusiness.com and get more information, program notes, and past episodes. Bold leaders approach each situation and focus on action to achieve a higher level of leadership. Jessica Dewell, your business advocate, is the host of the Voice of Bold Business Radio. Thank you for joining us.